Oh my God, girl. Like, you know how I was like telling you, like, I'm thinking of like maybe starting a podcast, but I'm not like totally sure because, like, like, what am I going to even talk about? I think I've realized it. Like, you know how I just have like so much pent up confidence? Like, I just feel like, all these crazy stories have happened to me, like with boys and dating and drama, and even just things like out in public. Like, I think this could actually be a really cool podcast. Like, I think I'm going to do it. Okay, girl, I did it. Oh my gosh, stop. What the hell? Welcome to my very first episode of Pent-Up Confidence. I will be getting into that title any second and why I've called it Pent-Up Confidence. But just, hey, how's it going? I'm like actually brand spanking new at this. Like, genuinely, I decided I was going to start a podcast quite literally like 3 weeks ago. So bear with me. I am figuring it all out, but I'm so excited to be here. And like, if you've just found me like scrolling on Spotify and you're like just looking for some girly comfort, you're in the right place. If you know me from Spotify help, TikTok, then I'm just so excited to get to like know you on a deeper level, because I feel like no one's gonna listen to my crazy, like, I don't know, catfish story for 10 minutes on TikTok. It's too long. There's too much in it. So I'm Spotify's problem now. So yeah, you're getting the real, raw, and unfiltered me. I have had not an ADHD med in probably like 6 hours. So you're like getting really real and raw, unfiltered me. And I'm just like so excited. So let's get into it. Okay, so why the name? Like, why did I call this Pent-Up Confidence? I feel like it's kind of niche. It doesn't really quite make sense, but trust me, there is a story. So back in like literally, so just for a quick context, I'm 18 years old and I am doing year 12 ECE. So like, I'm from Victoria. I literally think that's all you really need to know. Like, there's not much that you're probably not going to know about me by the time we're probably up to episode 30. Like, the first tampon story will be absolutely discussed. And I'm the type of girl that, like, I don't believe in TMI. I do, but it's more tell me in detail or tell me immediately. Like, nothing is really too much information. But start off my podcast, I'm gonna like make the room feel a little bit more comfy, a little bit vulnerable with you, and I'm gonna literally just like start every single podcast with like a segment called Comfy Confessions. Explanation is that I just feel like confessing, that's really like a broad term / quite dramatic sounding, but like telling you something like, I don't know, personal, or like I wouldn't normally to admit to someone in my real life. I just feel like it makes us feel more bonded, because I don't really believe in cyber friendships. Like, when people say like, oh, like that influencer doesn't even know you, you're just numbers. No. You and I are tight, babe. Like, we are going to become the bestest of friends. And I always feel like when I'm listening to a podcast, like, it's just me and them. And like, if they bring up other people, I get like jealous. Maybe I'm the problem. But it's just you and I. And we're just going to chat. I'm going to chill. And I'm releasing these every Wednesday at 8 a.m. So it's like, I'm just going to spend the day with you through hump day, whether you're driving to work, on your way to school. Like, we'll just get through it together. And I'm here for you. Vice versa. Sorry. I am going to control my rambling. My comfy confession of this week is that I, for the past 2 days, went to school with no makeup. Not an ounce. I actually did. That's a lie. Today, I felt a little bit vulnerable and I put on a little bit of concealer because my face got really red. And that is literally, okay. I feel confident enough like at home to not wear any makeup. Like, I like my face without makeup. I'm not like in a year 8 era, but I feel like I'm so scared, or not, I am so scared. I'm like, my face getting red because I get like blushed very easily. Up until like literally, I think a few months ago, I thought I was called Rose or like Rosie. My name is Rose, but like Rosie, you know what I mean? Because I had rosy cheeks as a kid. No, my parents had the name picked out like way before that. But people used to just say, oh, you've got rosy cheeks, like as a child. And I was like, cool, thank you so much. So now like if I get a little bit flushed, I'm like, no, thank you. So I was like, no makeup. I had a migraine. I was just like, I just want to feel clean and natural. Literally was fine. I was so scared because like, I don't know, I just feel like, oh my God. See, we're getting a little bit vulnerable. Like, I feel, especially at school, like it makes me feel more awake. It makes me feel a little likable. It makes me feel more confident, more approachable, just like nicer. Like, I won't lie, like in year 8 when I tried to like wear no makeup to school, year 9, I would feel kind of like it was harder to look at people because I was scared of what they were seeing. Whoa. Okay, we are getting like deep on the first episode. Okay, love. But I wore none yesterday and I was like no different. Like, genuinely still smiled, still laughed, still happy. Literally forgot I wasn't even wearing any makeup. So that's my little comfy confession. And eventually I would love if you guys DM me on Instagram, which is literally just roseduffy.ig, so like Instagram, and literally send me your little comfy confessions, hot girl hotline, like whatever type of thing like you just feel like you want to yap about, and I'll put it on the podcast and I'll be there for you. We'll support you, we'll laugh with you, we'll cry with you, like literally. Okay, so now the name, Pent-Up Confidence. Story starts. I was hanging out with like one of my mum's friends in the holidays. Okay, I'm just gonna be real. She's my godmother, but I just feel like that sounds culty. And like personally, I'm not like a religious person. I have absolutely nothing against anyone's religion or anything like that. Hashtag don't cancel me. But I just feel like it sounds culty to say godmother. So close family friend, even though I do literally have her name as my middle name. Rose Emily. So shout out to Emily. She's the reason this is all happening, guys. You're welcome. Or apologies, either way. No, that's so self-deprecating. What am I doing? Okay, so I was just like telling her about my life, what's going on, and obviously like, you know, boys and like that topic came up. And I was telling her this one story. It will be a podcast episode, do not you worry. But it was just like, it'll probably be titled like The Ranger, The Surfer, and the Pizza Boy. This took, I think, maybe 30 minutes to explain it to Emily. Not even that detailed. 2 pages, like 2 pieces of paper, diagrams, like explain everything. And then I went to like tell her another little story after that. And I was like, yeah, so this one happened. Like I was just at home all week. I had so much pent-up confidence. And she's like, whoa, stop right there. That is the name of your podcast. And I was like, what? And she's like, I absolutely would love to sit and listen to you talk about these all day. But obviously, you know, we don't have 50 hours. And like, if you made a podcast and I would literally listen to the stories like on my way to work. And I was like, well, anyway, whatever. And she's like, I would literally listen to it on the way to work. And I bet other people would too. And so here we are. And that is how this is called Pent-Up. So the podcast is largely to do with like the name of the podcast, which is Pent-Up Confidence, because I just feel like I'm someone that has a lot of pent-up confidence. And I will get into that in a very hot sec about why that is and how that's brought me here. Okay, so I live in quite like rural Victoria, and there's not like a lot of people to like socialize with and, if you will, test out pent-up confidence, whether that's like a boy I'm interested in, like literally whatever. Whereas opposed to like if you're living in the city, I know there's boys on the trams, like I don't know, I just feel like that's my reasoning. And so I just got like really sick of this feeling. Like around this time last year, I think it was literally Easter Sunday, I was sitting in my bed and I was so sick of feeling like I had all this confidence. I was still terrified to like put my confidence out there, aka like I started my TikTok, but I've been wanting to do that for literal years and years and years and years. And I was shaking after I posted my first TikTok. Like I have a recording on my Mac because I was like, turned my phone all the way off and put it in a different room because I was like, that was terrifying. I blocked every single person I knew under the sun because I was like, I just don't want to be judged. Like I just want to do this thing without having to see anyone that I know. They're all unblocked now for reference. Anyways, so did that. Post my first TikTok was literally terrifying. And I was just like kind of so proud of myself because, no, that's boring. And so yeah, I was like, this is a way to like deal up with all that pent-up confidence, if you will. And then I suppose that's trickled on down into like some actually like fucking insane situations. Just crazy situations. Yeah, that's literally the only word for it, with boys and guys, and just like how I don't know, I've got some very, very insane stories. And I'll tell someone the story like Emily and they're like, that could literally be a podcast, or that is like so unusual. And I was like, is this not the norm? And they're like, no girl. So yeah, I think like that's my main reason to like wanting to start the podcast, is having all these really good stories. No one has attention span for it on TikTok, and you can just like have a listen, have a giggle. But in saying that, obviously I will run out of stories eventually. So long term, like I'd like this to just be like very, very girly, very feminine. We just talk boys, girls, periods, friendships, just like all those little girly things. And I would say like this is probably like, and I feel like this audience, or like my demographic I'm aiming for, would be like, I think ages like 16 to probably like 26 would find this the most relatable. That being said though, it does not mean that like anyone under that age could listen. Like it's all ages. I just think that's like probably the category that would find it the most interesting / who I'm talking to. That's my mum, guys. She's 50. If you're listening and you're just like a little bit confused, that's just because I'm talking to a different age demo. Anyways, so the reason I have all of these, which brings me to why I think I have enough stories to start this podcast, is because I have 18 years old and I have never had a boyfriend. Not once, like literally never. Obviously, due to my amount of stories, I have had close to, I've had, oh my God, I just feel like so many little interesting situations. We'll get into that. I'm so excited for all the later episodes. And I think that's partially to do with, like I said, like living in rural Victoria, like it just kind of cockbox you, if you will. And that is nothing against any boys that like live in my area. I think they are all really lovely people. I just don't think that like our interests really align. And I think that is kind of important in a relationship. Like I don't live by the beach, so I'm probably more attracted to, but I would love to, sorry, yep. But I'm more attracted to like surfer type people because I like surfing and I like the beach and I love summer and all of that. Whereas the people in my area aren't necessarily interested in that. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm trying not to get myself cancelled here by just saying that like I've never really had an interest in someone around my area, if you know what I mean. Okay, great. Then the second reason I think would probably honestly just be my own self-confidence, which sounds funny because it's called Pent-Up Confidence. And I would say I've always been a very outgoing person, but I wouldn't say I've always been a very confident person like inside. Like you can be outgoing and you look confident to other people because you're like loud or expressive or not afraid, but confidence is really, I think, an inner thing, and then that projects on the outer. Like I know when I'm not feeling confident about myself, like things feel more out of reach. Like I feel less magnetic. And then as soon as I'm feeling confident, like follicular phase, baddie era, just like yes, slaying, I just feel more attractive overall. And I do not find my confidence till, it's so funny that I have a literal date for it. It's weird. But like I think it was like July 21st last year. I will get into that as an episode because that is a whole journey. And I think it's something so insane and like incredibly interesting to talk about, which is like making that switch from I'm ugly, I'm hideous, like no one will love me, to actually, you know what, I like my face. So I think that's partially. And then oh my god, I literally think I scared all the boys off in year 7 as well. That's what I like to tell myself to kind of justify the whole never had a boyfriend thing, because like I went to a tiny primary school, again rural Victoria, and high school was like, it was like literally a primary school of 25 kids, so literally tiny. And then my high school had like about 300, so I was like, oh my god, year 7, it's gonna be like wild, like it's gonna be like dating and like boys and boyfriends, just like, oh my god. Got to year 7, COVID happened, everyone had masks, you're like, wait, he's cute, takes his mask off and you're like, never mind. So I just feel like that was like, where am I going with this? What the fuck? Yeah, no. And then the one time in year 7, so this guy's friend, let's call him Zach. His name was not Zach, but Zach was like, no, Zach's friend, Tyson. Zach's friend Tyson was like, oi, Rose, like, would you ever go out with Zach? And I was like, they caught me off guard. And I was like, ew, no. And then I was like, sorry, Zach, like, it's not you, just like, ew, no. So I think that kind of, you know, I wasn't giving available, I wasn't giving open to, I wasn't giving like flirty, and just, you know, like that's always been me though. Like I always think that like I like boys and I'm like interested in pursuing something like that, and then it gets to, and I just get so scared, or like the opportunity gets to the opportunity, and I just get so scared and I just kind of like freeze, or I kind of just like shut it down because it just feels like what I'm meant to do. Who knows? That's probably for my therapist that only knows the answer to that. But that's just kind of like, I think, some reasonings as to why I've never had a boyfriend. Also, I've been interested in enough, and they've, you know, interested in me enough, because let's be real, it has to go both ways, that has just like worked out. And I think like I'm just not willing to settle or go with something just because it's there and available and like, oh yeah, like they like me, so it's fine. You know, like I'm really not about that. Oh, which brings me to this podcast, because if I'd been in a relationship for the last 4 years and I was like, oh yeah, like I kind of just like broke up with my year 9 boyfriend, and like I was like kind of talking to this guy from the club the other night, but I'm not seeing anyone at the moment, I would have no stories. However, I have 14 since I like started being interested in boys, like a solid 4 to 5 years of stories of just talking stages and situationships and this and that, and oh my god, even the time I was proposed to, that was hectic. Yeah, thank god I never had a boyfriend, otherwise I wouldn't be here being able to get to all of you. I don't want to make this whole first episode too long, because obviously it's not really a story, I'm just kind of setting the tone, because like, you know, it's kind of just like literally hashing out. Like you guys are lucky if you're listening to this first, because it's just like, I don't know, it's so raw and unfiltered, where, okay, so like every episode it's going to look like we're going to have, just like, you know, an intro, if you will, comfy confessions. I'm going to tell you a story. If we don't finish the story, it will be in the next story segment of the next episode. And then, and this may change, like this is not set in stone, because, you know, my producer and like my editor and just like my director and all of that, just like, you know, we're still figuring it out. Oh my god, I'm so alone. That's all me. I'm learning it all. I literally have never ever opened Spotify podcasting world until Sunday, so you've really got to bear with me. And so yeah, anyway, end segment, I'm thinking of doing like, it's going to be called Hype hype your heartbreak, and it's where I'm just gonna hype the fuck out of you. I'm gonna be like, you are beautiful, you are slaying, you are gorgeous, you deserve better without him, because I know for a fact there is a girl scrolling through Spotify right now trying to find comfort in a podcast because she has been left undelivered by the guy she was talking to, and he suddenly pulled away, and she's like, what the fuck? And she just needs someone to be like, you are amazing, you are stunning, you are beautiful, and that like mosquito looking rat does not deserve you. Okay, there are so many other people out there, and I know that feels so frustrating because you're like, yeah, but like this is the one I'm interested in. Trust me, baby girl, those rose-colored glasses, that's funny, will come off, and you'll be like, 2 months later, open like your save snaps or whatever photo you have of him, put a hand over your mouth in horror of what you were freaking out about, of what you were telling ChatGPT about, of what you were like just trying to find comfort on Spotify for, you know? So it's okay. So yeah, that's gonna be a little segment. I'm just gonna hype you up because we are literally best friends now. Sorry, you do not get to back out of this now. I've already decided. But yeah, I think that like actually officially concludes the first episode of Pent-Up Confidence. And please, please, please come back for episode 2 because that's when we really, really get into the stories, all the nitty gritty, the juicy, the bad, the horror. And like I said, the time I got proposed to. So yeah. I love you so much. I hope you have the most wonderful day. DM me on Instagram or TikTok. And if you do with any little story, just use like say girl code at the top of your message and I will know that this is for the podcast. And yeah, I love you, my pretty petal. Have the most wonderful day. I will see you next time.